As the title suggests, it's October the 16th, 2008, and I'm in Montenegro. I was just thinking a little bit more about the difference between needs and rights. For example, does a teenager have a need for friends, and do they have a right for friends? And I would say, unfortunately, they don't have a right to friends because parents or teachers can stop teenagers from being in contact with, talking to, hugging, etc. their friends, or boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. I was also thinking about a school I visited today, and a conversation I'd had with someone about education, and everyone keeps on saying that education is important. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say anywhere in the world that education is not important. And I won't really disagree that education is important, but friendships are also important. Traveling is also important. So do we force people to have friendships? Do we force people to go traveling? And punish them if they don't have friendships, and punish them if they don't go traveling? And then I thought about how this is a little bit like arranged marriages. If the people who have power in the community want to keep the community going, and they want to keep the community going in the same way that it's been going while they were in power, then they will arrange the marriages and basically force people actually to even pretty much have sex with each other. So like in a Mormon community, for example, they make a younger girl marry an older guy, and that means she's going to have sex with the older guy, and she can't complain about it or say it's rape because now they're legally married. And in India and other cultures, the parents get together and they try to figure out what's best for the parents when they arrange the marriage of their son and daughter. So in a way, a forced education system is similar. The people in power are using the young people to maintain their own status and position, etc. And I was thinking more about hostels. How in one hostel, well, I'll tell you which hostel it was. It was the hostel in Dubrovnik, Croatia. When I gave them there are no lockers in the room in which you can lock up your backpack, etc. So, but they said you can put your backpack behind the reception desk if you want to. Well, I had like a lot of cash with me because Emilio or Emiliola, the street performer from Argentina, collects a lot of coins, and I exchanged some currency, some paper currency with him, and I got coins, and I put that in my backpack, and like 50 euro of coins, and also I had my big laptop in the backpack and some other stuff. So anyhow, on one day I gave them the backpack, and there was no problem, and then the next day I see the same person, and I hold up the backpack to give it to her, and she goes, "Again?" So that one word and her tone of voice told me basically that she's starting to feel a little bit inconvenienced, or a little bit annoyed or something. And I felt inconvenient, let's say, or unwelcomed, or I don't know what this word is, but sort of like a nuisance. So, nuisance-like? But let's just leave it at inconvenient and unwelcome. And then I thought about how in other hostels they wouldn't do that. Another person, actually it's not the hostel, it's the particular person, because another person working at the same place might have been happy to see me and happy to have taken my backpack and not have said that word again really at all, or used any kind of annoying sounding tone of voice. So then I thought, what if children and teenagers could have a chance to go from one home to another and be able to select where they want to live in the same way that I can go from one hostel to another. And if someone doesn't treat me well in one hostel, I can go to another hostel. Now, I actually go from one country to another, one city to another, but even within one city, you can have different hostels, and the effect on you can be very different, especially when you're a sensitive person who's already been abused. So I'd say that a huge improvement in social services could be something like creating a kind of a combination between a couch surfing system and a hostel system where you would have references of places. So even before you go to a place, you can get an idea of what it's going to be like, and you can get in contact with people who've been there. And that comes from the couch surfing system. And then in terms of hostels, there are obviously very different kinds of hostels and hostel owners and even hostel employees. So this would be good for someone who's been abused to see, is that not everyone thinks that they're crazy, not everyone thinks that they're lazy, not everyone thinks they're selfish, not everyone feels inconvenienced when the person comes up, etc., etc. In fact, I'll take that farther and say that I've talked to some of the suicidal teenagers, and they tell me that they sometimes feel hated by their own parents, or the people society legally defines as their parents. So if you felt hated in one hostel or by one hostel employee, and then yet you felt welcomed and you felt appreciated or cared about, understood, etc., by another one, then you would maybe start to realize that it's not so much you, but it's the other person. And one of the huge problems is with the suicidal teenagers is they start to believe that the problem is with them when actually it's not. The problem is with their parents, teachers, school authorities, etc., psychologists, psychiatrists, etc. I'm using etc. a lot this morning, aren't I?